The Great Gatsby. F. Scott Fitzgerald. Chapter 3. There was music from my neighbor's house through the summer nights. In his blue gardens, men and girls came and went like month to month, the whispering and the champagne and stars. At high tide in the afternoon, I watched his guests diving from the tower of his raft, or taking the sun on the hot sand of his beach, while his two motor boats slid the waters of the Sound, drawing aquaplanes over cataracts of foam. On weekends, his Rolls-Royce became an omnibus, bearing parties to and from the city between 9 in the morning and long past midnight, while his station wagon scampered like a brisk yellow bug to meet all trains. Okay. And on Mondays, 8 servants, including an extra gardener, toiled all day with mops and scrubbing brushes and hammers and garden shears, repairing the ravages of the night before. Every Friday, 5 crates of oranges and lemons arrived from a fruiterer in New York. Every Monday, these same oranges and lemons left his back door in a pyramid of pulpless halves. There was a machine in the kitchen which could extract the juice of 200 oranges in half an hour if a little button was pressed 200 times with a butler's thumb. At least once a fortnight, a corps of caterers came down with several hundred feet on canvas and enough colored lights to make a Christmas tree of Gatsby's enormous garden. On buffet tables, garnished with glistening Horsedovre spiced baked hams, crowded again against salads of harlequin design and pastry pigs and turkeys bewitched to a dark gold. In the main hall, a bar with a real brass rail was set up, and stocked with gins and liquors, and which cordials for so long forgotten that most of his female guests were too young to know one from another. By 7 o'clock, the orchestra has arrived. No thin five-piece affair, but a whole pitful of oboes and trombones and saxophones and viols and cornets and piccolos and low and high drums. The last swimmers have come in from the beach now and are dressing upstairs. The cars from New York are parked, five deep in the drive, and already the halls and salons and verandas are gaudy with primary colors. And hair bobbed in strange new ways, and shawls beyond the dreams of Castel. The bar is in full swing. The floating sounds of cocktails permeate the garden outside. Until the air is alive with chatter and laughter, and casual innuendo and introductions forgotten on the spot. And enthusiastic meetings between women who never knew each other's names. The lights grow brighter as the earth lurches away from the sun. And now the orchestra is playing yellow cocktail music, and the opera of voices pitches a key higher. Laughter is easier minute by minute, spilled away with prodigality. Tipped out a cheerful word. The groups change more swiftly, swell with new arrivals, dissolve and form in the same breath. Already there are wanderers. Confident girls who weave here and there among the stouter and more stable become for a sharp, joyous moment the center of the group, and then, excited with triumph, glide on through the sea change of faces and voices and color on a constantly changing light. Suddenly, one of these gypsies in trembling opal seizes a cocktail out of the air, dumps in down for courage, and moving her hands like Frisco dances out alone on the canvas platform. Momentary hush. The orchestra leader varies his rhythm obligingly for her, and there is a burst of chatter as the erroneous news goes around that she is Gilda Grace, understudy from the Follies. The party has begun. I believe that on first night I went to Gatsby's house, I was one of the few guests who had actually been invited. People were not invited. They went there. They got into automobiles which bore them out to Long Island, and somehow they ended up at Gatsby's door. Once, once there, once there, they were introduced by somebody who knew Gatsby, and after that, they conducted themselves according to the rules of behavior associated with an amusement park. Sometimes they came and went without having met Gatsby at all. Came for the party with a simplicity of heart that was his own ticket of admission. I have been actually invited. A chauffeur in a uniform of robin's egg blue crossed my lawn early that Saturday morning with a surprisingly formal note from his employer. The honor would be entirely Gatsby's. It said if I would attend his little party that night, he he had seen me several times and had intended to call me long before, but peculiar combination of circumstances had prevented it. Signed, J. Gatsby, in a majestic hand, dressed up in white flannels. I went over to his lawn a little after 7 and wandered around rather ill at ease among swirl and eddies. People I didn't know, though here and there was a face I had noticed on the commuting train. I was immediately struck by the number of young Englishmen dotted about, all well dressed, all looking a little angry, and all talking in low, earnest voices to solid and prosperous Americans. I was sure that they were selling something. Bonds or insurance or automobiles. They were at least agonizingly aware of the easy money in the vicinity. And convinced that it was theirs for a few words in the right key. As soon as I arrived, I made an attempt to find my host, but the two of three people whom I asked his whereabouts stared at me in such an amazed way and denied so vehemently any knowledge of his movements that I slunk off in a direction of the cocktail table. The only place in the garden where a single man could linger without looking purposeless and alone. I was on my way to get rolling drunk from sheer embarrassment when Jordan Baker came out of the house and stood at the head of the marble steps, leaning a little backward and looking with a contemptuous interest down into the garden. Welcome or not, I found it necessary to attach myself to someone before I should begin to address cordial remarks to passersby. "Hello," I roared, advancing toward her, and my voice seemed unnaturally loud across the garden. "I thought you might be here," she responded absently as I came up. "I remember you. You lived next door to..." She held my hand impersonally. as a promise that she'd take care of me in a minute and give ear to two girls in twin yellow dresses, who I stopped at the foot of steps. Hello, they cried together. Sorry, didn't win. That was one of the golf tournament. She had lost in the finals the week before. You don't know who we are, said one of the girls in yellow, but we met you here about a month ago. You've dyed your hair since then, remarked Jordan, and I started. But the girls had moved casually on, and her remark was addressed to the premature moon. Produced like the supper, no doubt, out of the career's basket, with Jordan's slender golden arm resting in mine. We descended the steps and sauntered about the garden. A tray of cocktails floated at us through the twilight, and we sat down at a table with two girls in the yellow and three men, each one introduced to us, Mr. Mumble. Do you come to this parties often? Inquired Jordan of the girl beside her. The last one was the one I meet you at, and answered the girl. In an alert, confident voice, she turned to her companion. Wasn't it for you, Lucille? It was for Lucille too. I like to come, Lucille said. I was never care what I do, so I always have a good time. When I was here last, I tore my gun on a chair. I tore my gun. On a chair, and he asked me my name and my address. Instead of a week, I got my package from Courier's with a new evening gone in it. Did you keep it? Asked Jordan. Sure, I did. I was going to wear it tonight, but I was too big in a bust, and I had to be altered. It was gas blue with lavender beads. $265. There's something funny about fellow that'll do a thing like that, and said other girls eagerly. He doesn't want any trouble with anybody. Who doesn't? I inquired. Gatsby, somebody told me. The girls and Jordan leaned together confidentially. Somebody told me they thought he killed a man once. A thrill passed all over all of us. The three Mr. Mumbles bent forward and listened eagerly. I don't think it's too much that, argued Lucio skeptically. It's more that he was a German spy during the war. One of the men nodded in confirmation. I heard that from a man who knew all about him, grew up with him in Germany. He assured us positively. Oh no, said the first girl. It couldn't be that, because he was in the American army during the war. As our credulity switched back to her, she leaned forward with enthusiasm. You look at him sometimes when he thinks nobody's looking at him. I'll bet he killed a man. Alright, so that's for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow then.